For many veterans, the battles don't end when they return home. Invisible wounds like post-traumatic stress, depression, and traumatic brain injury can linger for years and often go untreated even though their impact is profound. Today I'm speaking with two veterans about the care and community that help them heal.
My name is Joe Harper. I am a U.S. Army infantry veteran. I also help with Veterans on the Fly and help with the Courage Foundation.
You were in the Army.
Yes, I was a mortarman, and we had we had a 4 deuce mortar, which is 4.2 in diameter. For the 4 deuce, it's a big explosion down there. It's a 34-pound round going down the tube and coming back out. And when you drop the round like this, you're taught to follow the round down with your arms and your head so you're clear from the where it goes off, but the explosion's happening right next to your head. But almost 5 years was time to get out. If infantry is a hard life. I did my time. I did what a lot of veterans do. They get out. I met my lovely wife, got a good union job, had a family of three awesome boys. Everything seemed to be going great for 20 years. But then start realizing things. Start having memory issues. I would forget guys that I would been working with for 25 years. I would forget their names, and I would just talk to them an hour before, and I remembered their names. There's a lot of short-term memory issues I was having. I had a friend one time. He was an Iraqi veteran, also a mortarman, so we sort of connected. And one day he came up to me, he goes, "Dude, you got TBI." I said, "What do I got traumatic brain injury from? I didn't go to war. I didn't get blown up." He goes, "It's okay, but you got it." Because one thing you did a little research, and it come to find out that those rounds that I was dropping in the Army actually were like concussions. Every time the round go off, it was a concussion. And, when you're dropping 30, 40, 60, 80 rounds a day, that's a lot of concussions in one day.
Did you ever get checked for concussion protocol or anything like that when you were still in service?
No, that was the 90s. Concussions were nothing. Just worked through it. People started worrying about them because of the football players.
Mm-hmm.
That really shed a light on what concussions are about. And with the football players, their concussions were collisions. You hit something, your brain hits inside of your skull, and it causes damage. Where blast injuries is the blast wave goes through and rattles the brain. So that's a different type of damage,
Mm-hmm.
but still damage.
In those 20 years, looking back on it now, were there symptoms that you now realize you had?
Oh yeah, brain fog was definitely one of them. Balance. I really noticed my balance, especially, I'm like being outdoors. I struggle in a canoe because of balance. I thought I was just getting old, but it wasn't. It was a TBI. So then I read one time where, fly fishing can help veterans and stuff like that. So went and bought a cheap outfit and went and tried it. I found an organization in Madison, Wisconsin called Veterans on the Fly. I don't know these guys, but I'm going to go try it. I'm still struggling this whole time. And then they were patient with me, which was, I'm thankful,
Struggling with the anxiety?
the anxiety, the depression, I was the grumpy old vet that nobody wanted to talk to because he's just grumpy. Everything, you just bottle up and push it down and work through it, but it still makes you grumpy.
Joe eventually went through a TBI assessment and was recommended for intensive outpatient treatment. Every day for 3 weeks, he worked with psychiatrists, therapists, and doctors to confront the symptoms of his traumatic brain injuries that had been affecting him for the last 20 years.
And that was hard. It was good. As I say, it was the second best thing I ever did in my life. First one was finding a woman that put up with me.
And you had never had any mental health treatment
No,
before?
no.
Okay.
Um,
So this was really the first time you were acknowledging that A, you really were struggling with depression,
yes,
it's diagnosed, and you're getting help.
yes.
After completing the 3 weeks of intensive treatment, Joe connected with a fellow veteran through the Courage Foundation to continue working on his symptoms.
My name is Dave Weber. I'm a Navy veteran, and I currently work for a nonprofit called the Courage Foundation. And we help veterans with one-on-one peer coaching, peer support. And we help veterans they're struggling with post-traumatic stress and some TBIs and mental health stuff like depression.
When you were working with the veterans, what do you see as far as their symptoms of PTSD?
They'll struggle with being isolating themselves. Another thing is being hypervigilant. So in the military, depending on their job, a lot of times their survival is dependent on being hypervigilant, noticing subtleties in a situation where something just moved or somebody's coming up behind me. And then that same vigilance that saved them in the military, now you're in the grocery store and you're still hypervigilant. You notice somebody move fast behind you or something's happening ahead of you, and all of a sudden the mind just starts racing. And so this avalanche of emotion, they can't handle it and have to leave their groceries in the store and just leave or do or say something they regret. And so focusing on that is something that I really like to zero in on. It's helping them recognize what calm feels like before, so that when they notice the tension coming on, when they notice they're becoming hypervigilant, having skills to be able to get themselves calm before it becomes an avalanche of emotion. So I would say isolation, hypervigilance is one. Another one is just adjusting to this new body, an injured body. What can I do now? Another one is regret. It's like there's a lot of people that wish they had done something else or tried for a program and didn't get into it, or had so much identity wrapped up in that particular position and rank and everything else, and now they don't have that. And what do you do?
How much of that did you have to overcome personally to be able to do this work?
Everything. I had to overcome all of it. And I think that's why for me, I'm so passionate about it, because it literally saved my life. And so now when I share that, like I can hear somebody talking through it, and I understand what it feels like to really feel like the lowest person on earth, and like how to be, go from feeling completely worthless to taking that first step.
Dave includes many different aspects of peer support to tackle the complex struggles of veterans. He gave me a glimpse into some of the calming techniques and breath work that he teaches in his workshops.
All right, so your eyes closed, seated comfortably. Exhaling out of my mouth just to help myself relax. Slowly inhaling through my nose, just taking a moment to notice the sound and feeling of that breath. So allow myself to settle down. I'm noticing a little tension, wiggling my fingers, wiggling my toes, have my feet nice and flat. So this is just practicing getting settled. Slowly opening my hands, kind of like letting a butterfly go. So we'll be cycling back and forth between tension and relaxation to feel that difference. So let's begin by exhaling in 3, 2, 1, and exhale out of your nose or mouth all the way out.
What message would you have to any vets that are early in their journey of healing?
I know a lot of vets, a lot of men think, going for treatment shows weakness. It don't. It actually shows strength. It's just you recognizing that, hey, I got something wrong with me. Let's go get it fixed.
Funding provided in part by the Charles E. Kubley Foundation, committed to improving the lives of those impacted by depression since 2003.